So, even though you guys can't see me, know that I am still sweating because I'm nervous. Just know you guys are going to be watching this and listening. So when trying to pick my topic for this assignment, I went back and forth between subjects writing both adultism and ageism. Adultism is a topic that I have personal experience with. However, ageism, more specifically age discrimination in older adults, is not something I have ever put much thought into. So this just motivated me to look further into how ageism affects those in later adulthood, within the workplace, and just how marginalized this group truly is. Not knowing much about it made me want to learn more. Simply due to a number, the person's chronological age, the individual goes from a position of productivity, seen as a senior experienced member, to them being devalued within society and within the workplace, because once you reach that higher age, people see you as being unproductive. Um, Popular media is a huge contributing factor to these age expectations, so we're going to watch a commercial that gives a valid example of this.
Instead of mailing everyone my vacation photos, I'm saving a ton of time by posting them to my wall.
Ooh, I like that one.
It's so quick. It's just like my car insurance. I save 15% in just 15 minutes.
I saved more than that in half the time.
I'd unfriend you.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
15 minutes for a quote isn't how it works anymore. With Esurance, 7.5 minutes could save you on car insurance. Welcome to the modern world. Esurance, backed by Allstate. Click or call.
So, welcome to the modern world. I feel like this can be taken as a huge slap in the face to people in this population. This commercial is an example of how the popular media is constantly portraying those in later adulthood as incapable. There's this very strong out with the old and in with the new outlook within today's modern workforce, it seems. So first, let's define ageism, which is described in our textbook as being the oppression of elders by youth and adults. The text continues by saying ageism is a form of systematic stereotyping and discrimination against people simply because they are old. As we learned in part 1 of this course, late adulthood begins at what society considers the, in quotes, retiring age, which is 65 years old. While 65 was once considered the retiring age, I think it is safe to say that it can now be noted individuals are working well past this age. This can be for reasons such as the individual is financially unable to afford to retire, or simply the person doesn't feel a need or a want to disengage from the workplace quite yet. Studies show that age discrimination in the workforce begins at age 30, but becomes noticeable to the individual around age 50. As seen in this picture, 1 in 5 workers in the United States are 55 or older. 64% of workers say they have seen or experienced age discrimination in the workplace, and 58% of adults believe age discrimination begins among workers in their 50s. So with that being said, add 10 to 15 years, and you're looking at those in later adulthood who are 60 to 65, and that's then magnified. People in later adulthood are facing even higher and more alarming rates of discrimination. Some reasons for discrimination being that the employer automatically assumes the older individual will expect things like higher pay, better benefits, frequent raises, things like that, which of course isn't always the case. Also, stereotypes are placed on older individuals. For example, people who are in later adulthood are seen as slow, washed up, incapable, they're in bad health, they're unable to be creative, they're bad with technology, they're seen as unable to learn new methods. So therefore, some employers assume it would just be easier to employ the younger individual. But I just feel those employers who follow this mentality truly fail to realize the invaluable wisdom and knowledge that comes with a lifetime of experience, in which that older individual may be able to provide their company. So what does discrimination in the workplace look like? Well, there's the obvious ways of discrimination. There's verbal, physical bullying, sabotage, humiliation, intimidation, threatening, intentional mistreatment, being punished or fired due to their age, and the most common one I would think is not being hired due to their age. There's also the concealed ways of discrimination in the workplace, which are things such as subtle unfair comments in regards to things such as performance or ability. And there's also receiving condescending treatment, such as being under very close watch by managers or supervisors, not being considered for promotions or raises, being ignored, or being given undesirable tasks that nobody else would really want to do. They just hand them off to the older employee. So what are the effects of ageism in the workplace? Experiencing acts of ageism can be truly detrimental to the individual's psyche and motivation. The individual begins believing the stereotypes that are put onto them by coworkers and employees, likely leading them to a negative sense of self. This can cause feelings of helplessness, worthlessness, or feeling unproductive and or unable. A longitudinal study was performed by psychologist Becca Levy. She viewed the effects of ageism on the individual. She studied 660 people who are 50 years and older. Her study found that those with negative self-perceptions of aging lived 7.5 years less than those who had positive self-perceptions. So social work roles. What can we do to help? Social workers assisting this population really need to be fully aware of the biases and stereotypes that we just talked about that are being placed onto the person. Evaluating the individual's place and experience in the workforce can be essential in helping them overcome barriers of oppression put into place because of their age. It is also vital that professionals working with this population are aware of their own ageist beliefs and biases. If the worker is not self-aware, they could unknowingly be contributing more to the harm instead of really helping. If you find yourself working with this population, specializing in gerontology as well as occupational social work could be very beneficial to you. So social workers working with those in later adulthood have to be able to do several things while counseling them. Teaching coping and resilience strategies I think is the most important because it's likely that they're going to face this discrimination, and teaching them how to deal with it and overcome with it is very important. Also informing them of their rights is essential. For example, the Age Discrimination Act in Employment, or also known as the ADEA, was passed in 1967, and this law stated that discrimination against individuals 40 or older in the workplace is forbidden. So knowing these sort of laws will help you better stand up for your client and also empower them to stand up for themselves. It's important to help the individual access resources if needed, or also to help find job listings or postings. It's important to help the individual assess their personal strengths and encourage them to seek opportunity within their workplace. This can help show and increase their value to their employers. Often visit their strengths throughout counseling and provide continuous reassurance to the individual. You can also assess their weaknesses, help them find training opportunities to build up essential skills in places they may lack. And lastly, just be an advocate for this client. If you as a worker believe your client is being discriminated against in a major way, take action. So in conclusion, I guess it's just crazy to me how we can put a value on the person in regards to how many times we've circled the sun versus taking the time to evaluate their actual physical and mental capabilities while completely disregarding all the experience and wisdom they have to offer. It's just a concept I can't fully grasp, I guess. And seeing as aging is inevitable, we're all going to be old one day. So fighting and standing up for it now is important, in standing up for our future selves and our children's future selves. And we should be taking strong action to eliminate ageism within the workplace. Working on this presentation, it helped me realize that 65 really isn't that old. I know so many people who are 65 years or older, including my grandparents, and they are more than capable of continuing to work, and they still have very sharp minds and just so much to offer in regards to advice and knowledge. Just studying this population in general really helps me become more self-aware. It helped bring my own personal ageist beliefs and biases to the table, and it really motivated me to work through those ideas. And I just, encourage you guys to do the same, and I hope you do the same and take some time to really sit and think about this topic and maybe some ageist beliefs that you hold and work through that. That is my presentation, and thanks for watching. Bye!